INTJs are known for their intellect, strategy, and independence. They are the masterminds, the visionaries, the ones who always seem to be 10 steps ahead of everyone else. But beneath that composed and calculating exterior lies a dark side, one they rarely let the world see. Today, we're diving deep into the shadowy aspects of the INTJ personality, the traits they keep hidden, the thoughts they never voice, and the reasons why their darkness is often misunderstood. The cold, unapologetic logic. INTJs don't just think, they analyze. Every decision, every person, every situation is filtered through cold, unyielding logic. While this makes them incredibly efficient and precise, it also means they can come across as ruthless. They don't make decisions based on emotions. They make them based on what makes sense. And if that means cutting someone off, making an unpopular choice, or pursuing their goals at any cost, so be it. They don't try to be cold, but emotions often feel like a distraction, something irrational that gets in the way of what truly matters. The contempt for mediocrity. INTJs have zero patience for incompetence. They respect intelligence, efficiency, and ambition. But when they encounter laziness, ignorance, or people who refuse to think for themselves, their darker side emerges. They might not always say it outright, but their body language, sharp remarks, or complete disengagement say everything. INTJs hide their contempt behind a mask of indifference, but inside they're thinking, why do people settle for mediocrity? This hidden arrogance can make them seem elitist or unapproachable, but in reality, they just can't understand why people don't strive for excellence. The manipulative mastermind. INTJs are natural strategists, and that includes understanding people. If they choose to, they can manipulate situations to their advantage with unsettling precision. They don't rely on emotional manipulation like some personality types do. Instead, they use logic, psychology, and foresight. They see the patterns, they predict outcomes, and they subtly nudge things in their favor without anyone realizing they were pulling the strings all along. To them, it's not about being deceptive, it's about being effective. But this calculated approach to life can sometimes make them seem detached, even Machiavellian. The isolation and emotional walls. Despite their confidence and independence, INTJs often feel like outsiders. Their minds operate differently, and they know it. Instead of trying to fit in, they retreat into their own world, one where they don't have to deal with the draining small talk, the illogical emotions of others, or the frustration of explaining their complex thoughts. They build walls, thick, impenetrable walls, to protect themselves. Letting someone in is rare, and when they do, that person better prove they're worthy. Because if they betray an INTJ's trust, they're permanently locked out. The obsession with control. INTJs hate uncertainty. They crave control, not over people, but over their own lives, their plans, and their futures. When things don't go according to plan, their darker side emerges. Frustration, cold withdrawal, or an obsessive need to fix what went wrong. They don't trust anyone else to do things as efficiently as they would, which means they take on too much responsibility. And when people try to interfere, that's when their cutting, dismissive nature comes out. The hidden perfectionism. INTJs are their own harshest critics. While they may seem indifferent to external validation, inside they have incredibly high standards, ones they almost never meet. This hidden perfectionism can lead to burnout, frustration, and self-imposed isolation. They don't want to show weakness, so instead of asking for help, they push themselves harder, refusing to accept anything less than excellence. But what they won't admit is that sometimes, deep down, they wonder if they'll ever be good enough for their own impossible standards. The unseen vulnerability. Beneath all the logic, the control, and the sharp intellect, there is something INTJs rarely show: vulnerability. They do feel, they do care, but their fear of being misunderstood, of being seen as weak, keeps them from ever truly expressing it. When an INTJ does let their guard down, it's a rare and precious moment. And if someone dismisses or mishandles that vulnerability, the INTJ will never forget it. The dark side of an INTJ isn't about malice, it's about survival. They are wired to think, to analyze, to win. But for those who take the time to understand them, to see beyond the cold exterior, there's a depth and intensity that few ever get to witness.